is just a mock session for a grade in my class with Dr. Lee. Anything you see or hear on this video is all made up. It is not real. Thank you. Hello, Curtis. Thank you for coming in and seeing me today. The assessments that I sent you and got back by email, I'd like to thank you for sending those back to me before session so I could have a look at those. It talks about some trauma that you went through recently. You said it was about 3 months ago? Something about a wreck. Could you elaborate that?
Yes. I'd been in a limousine. It's the smallest one they had at the time, unfortunately. 14-passenger limousine. This was a decent length. And we were on our way to pick up my girlfriend. I was going to take her out to a real nice, extravagant dinner, and, ask her to marry me and all that stuff. Which is, of course, that whole plan has been postponed and stuff. I didn't say the whole was going to ask you to marry her part because of the accident. It just didn't feel right.
Yeah.
Anyway, but our light was green. We were going through a red light, and a large pickup ran his red light. He's going at a decent rate of speed. It was a big dually pickup. I had my seatbelt on, so I was sitting in the far back. But he had hit us hard enough, square in the middle of this limousine, to actually cause it to split in half, literally like this, to where I was went from facing this way to this way, So it's like all I heard was a loud bang, and I saw sparks fly and everything, and her, so I actually saw the middle of the drivetrain bouncing off the pavement per se. It was quite a sight,
That must have been very traumatic for you to see all that.
It was. I've experienced other traumas in my life, but nothing like this. Anyway.
And I'd like to pause at this moment and have you realize, if you'll do something for me.
Yes.
Be aware of how you're moving.
Right.
You did your shirt.
Right.
And you're swerving back and forth and moving your feet.
Right.
What are you feeling at this moment that you're doing this? What are your feelings?
Talking about it is bringing in flashbacks, and it's a little hard for me to talk about because I literally saw my life flash before my eyes. Literally every.
Tell me about the emotions you're feeling.
The emotions I'm feeling is almost, I guess you could say, post-traumatic. I guess it is post-traumatic in a way. I don't know how to put it.
Post-traumatic means after the trauma. What are you feeling? Look at your hands. Be aware. No, I don't want you to stop doing this.
Okay.
I want you to be aware.
Okay.
Of what you're doing and how you're feeling. So I want you to watch your body and be mindful of how you're moving and connect that with the emotion.
What was going through my mind was fear, anxiety, and I guess anger, and
now you have your hands above next to your face.
Right.
It's almost if you're wanting to prevent seeing that.
Yes, I try to block it out and say, no, you know what, we need to focus and think about the situation at hand, which is what I did. I really did, the seats were bucket seats, because, it was a custom car. I was able to grab both sides of the seat while because I looked over and I saw him coming, and the natural reaction for any human being is to grab a hold of something because it's going to be big. And after going, letting go, and thinking, I gotta get my seatbelt off. So I was able to get my seatbelt off. Amazingly, miraculously enough, I was able to walk to out the door, out of the limousine this way, and I look over, and the front part of the limousine is just like an accordion. And my first thought was, oh no, I don't want to go over there. He's not going to be alive. I go over there and he's like this, and he's like, my neck hurts and I can't feel my legs. That was the first thing he said. I was like, okay, you were just driving me not 13 seconds ago, or whatever. You know.
Did anybody call for help, or?
He had OnStar on his limo.
Okay.
It automatically, jolted the car.
Right.
However OnStar works.
Okay.
But, so,
So when you saw him, that must have been a jolt for you.
it was, there was blood everywhere.
How did?
Glass.
What emotion were you feeling at that point?
Oh, jeez.
Just keep aware of your emotions and your feelings.
I think the list of emotions that I wasn't feeling is rather shorter.
Let's focus on what you were feeling.
What I was feeling is still feeling afraid, anxious, my adrenaline was rushing, I was thinking, anxiety was building and everything else, and I think I mentioned fear already. I was just a ball of mess all together, and I held myself together because, I do have a citizen's first responder license, and one thing they teach you is whenever you're in a situation like that, you have to think of the other person first. So even though I had all those emotions going on, I had to say stop, and I had to think about the person at hand that needed my help. So I went back the other half of the limo, because it was over on this street corner. He was in the middle of the road over here. Had to go back, get in the truck, get a first aid kit, go take it again. So I still have
You
all this.
said get in the truck. The
Trunk.
truck.
Trunk of the car.
Okay, the
Sorry.
trunk of the car.
Trunk of the car. Sorry. I looked over at the truck driver, and he's passed out because the airbag went off on his pickup and it knocked him out. So I went over, looked at him, checked his pulse. His pulse is fine. I saw there's beer bottles all over the floorboard of his vehicle.
How did you feel at that point?
I don't know, I say this without being vulgar. Rather upset.
Okay.
So that kind of switched the fear and the anxiety and the
Okay,
anger
let's slow down.
to
Take some-
extreme anger.
Slow down and take some deep breaths. 4 in. 1, 2, 3, 4 out. Let's do that again.
Okay.
4 in. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 out. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4 in. 1, 2, 3, 4 out. Okay, I want you to be aware of your feet on the floor. Okay. All right. Are you able to continue talking, or?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
Alright. So I tended his wounds what I could, and the fire department gets there within a matter of minutes because they're like 4 blocks away. I usually like to go into detail as to what units what units showed up, but I don't know if we have time for that.
No, let's not do that. Let's focus in
So-
on your emotions and what you were feeling through the process, okay?
Okay.
So let's proceed. We got the ambulance there. The ambulance is taking the driver away. Where do you go?
He was flown in.
Okay, where are you going at this point?
Where am I going? Because I didn't have a scratch on me. One of the police officers was kind enough to take me to the hospital.
Okay.
First they asked me, would you like to ride the ambulance with the driver of the truck? I says, no, that would not be a good idea of you to do course, I used some choice words in there, but I said, no, okay. So I go to the squad car, or police car.
I want you to be aware to get your close to your eyes every time you talk about something that's related to this accident. Are you, when you close your eyes, are you having flashbacks or?
I am.
Okay, let's try and focus with keeping our eyes open and being aware of where you are.
Okay.
So, you don't have to necessarily look at me, but keep your eyes open.
Okay. I remember what was coming to my mind. Well, let's not get. I'm getting ahead of myself. I spoke to the doctor, and he said, "Well, there's a."
Open your eyes. Thank you.
I'm sorry. There's a 50-50 chance he may never walk again.
We're talking about the driver now.
The driver, yes.
Okay.
The driver of the large pickup, he, of course, he had some minor injuries, but he, other than that, he had to serve jail time, obviously.
Right.
Um,
Let's go back to where the doctor says that he has a 50-50 chance of walking again. What are your emotions then?
my emotions were guilt.
Why would you have guilt?
I could have called somebody else. I was giving him directions as to which street to turn on, where to go, how to get there.
So you felt like you were distracting him from his driving.
Right.
Okay. Do you really think that you could have prevented the truck from going through the red light?
No, honestly, I couldn't have.
So what makes you feel guilty about you causing the
She
accident?
could have chose a different path. There was a longer way, but it was more direct, if you will. I was just trying to get him around because traffic was kind of heavy at the time. It was during evening rush hour.
Okay. Open your eyes.
What went through my mind at that time is when I was a kid.
This is a different situation?
Yeah, this is a whole different situation.
When did this come to mind?
When he told me about that, I was sitting in the lobby of the.
Who told you?
When the doctor told me about the driver situation and where he was
Okay.
at. What came to mind was about when I was like, 5 or 6 years old, something like that. I was a young kid. And we were playing, and we were up in a high tree. We're talking. I mean, we were good. I was a good climber. We were good climbers. We were up in
You were sitting
a high
in a tree?
sitting in the tree, pretty high up.
Okay.
I want to say a good 20 feet up. It was up there. So, we're joking and laughing and everything. And, he said something really smirky to me about something. I forget what it was. But I said, oh man, shut up. And I pushed him and he let go of the tree branch. Down he went. Next thing I know, he went from in front of me to like this to all I heard was a on the ground. And he was lying there, not moving or motionless or nothing. So I climbed down as fast as I could out that tree. And I'm just standing there looking at him, and
How are you feeling at that point, Samuel Graham?
I just killed my best friend. That's not well. That is rubbish.
Okay. That's freezing is a part of fear from trauma happening. So that's a normal reaction.
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to take some deep breaths again?
Yeah, about that.
Okay. 4 in. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 out. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 in. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Are we good?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're standing over him, or your friend, I'm taking as a him?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you touch him, or check
I
to
was
see if he
I
had a
was
pulse or
scared to.
anything?
I didn't know how to notice. I didn't know how to check the pulse. I knew we had a
Okay.
heartbeat. People had heartbeats, you know, when that's what
Right.
we had to have. At the time, I didn't know what's a pulse, you know.
What made you
That
think
is-
you killed him? What kind
He
of...
wasn't moving. He wasn't breathing. He wasn't moving. He wasn't doing anything. I thought, okay, this is what dead people look like. This is not good.
Okay, so what did you do next?
I ran into his mom's house, which is a good 3 acres from about where I was standing. It was a big farm. And, you know, ran to the house and said, and I screamed, Mrs. Wilberding, real loud. And she come running out the laundry room. What? Billy fell out of a tree. What? It's like, I told you. I mean, she didn't like us climbing trees, so she got onto us real good. She goes running outside, and she's like, oh.
Open your eyes.
Sorry. She goes running outside, and she screams. Our neighbor, who just so happens to be a volunteer firefighter, was outside cleaning some weeds out, and she's waving her hands like this at him. And he gets in his tractor, and comes over because that part of the property didn't have him. He comes over and says, "You got a phone I can use?" And he says, "Yeah, it's inside the house." He's like, "Well, you just stay here. Don't touch him. Don't pick him up. Don't do nothing." Goes in, calls, I guess you could say, for backup. 15
I want
minutes
you to-
later.
Hold on a moment. I want you to be aware that you were talking about the car, and now you're talking about your friend, and you're pulling on your shirt.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
What are you feeling at this point? What is your emotions right now?
I was in a panic.
Okay. What are you feeling at this moment talking about it?
Fear, anxiousness, adrenaline rush.
Okay. So now he's called his friends, they come, and they've taken Billy to the hospital, of course. That would be the scenario of what normal people would do.
Right.
Where are you once he goes? Because Mama had to go with him, I'm thinking.
Yes.
What did you do?
I forget his name. The guy next door had his own farm too. The volunteer firefighter. We rode back to his house on the tractor because he had an extra bucket seat per se. But anyway, got to his house, hopped in his truck. His truck had the lights and sirens and CB and all on it, so he flipped on the lights and sirens and we hauled butt down the county road to the hospital, in town to the hospital.
Okay.
So
Where were your parents when?
my dad passed away when I was 2, and my mom was working in the grocery store in town. So
Okay.
he dropped me off at the hospital, and he let her know rather, and the manager and all that know what's going on. The manager was real nice. And
Open
said,
the eyes.
sorry, was real nice. Let her go to the hospital, and she sat down and said, she said to me, "It was only an accident. You're not in trouble." And
So, how's Billy? How did he turn out?
oh, he's doing great. He learned how to walk again. He's actually now a physical therapist, a licensed physical therapist. He's been it for 6 years now. He's actually
Okay.
going to be opening up a second office.
How did you feel about him having to learn how to walk all over again?
I felt I was forever in debt to him, like I owed him.
Okay, let's go back and revisit that picture of you touching him. Did you actually push him or just touch him? Think about that.
I actually pushed him.
Okay, did your push actually get him to let go of that tree, or did he let go of it himself?
You know, I don't know.
Because pushing someone, if you just really push them, you know, like you're laughing and you push on someone, doesn't really knock them out of a tree,
No.
especially when they're holding on. So, with that being said, again, do you feel like that you actually were at fault in that situation, or was it him letting go of the tree?
I think it was more or less him letting go of the tree. Because a natural reaction of, you know, someone pushing you up and mindset of being up that high. You don't want to let go. So, just the way he was sitting, I guess.
The way he was sitting and the fact that he let go was why he fell out of the tree?
Yeah.
So it wasn't your push that made him fall out of the tree. So you've had guilty feelings and been feeling indebted to someone that you didn't cause anything to happen.
I guess.
It wasn't your fault. So now that you know the truth, how do you feel about that?
It's better.
For God tells us in the Bible, the truth will set us free.
Right.
So now you feel better? Do you feel like you're free of that past situation?
Yeah.
And now that you're free from that past situation, do you feel like that you can go and visit this driver that has to learn how to walk all over again?
I think I can, because if you think about it, you know, this second time, I know definitely I'm not at fault. And several viewpoints between the attorney and the insurance company, you know.
Well,
So,
what I'd like to do is, we got about a minute or two left. What I'd like to do is pray with you about this before you go and see him, and pray God's be there with you if that's something that you would like to do. Dear Lord, we thank you for Curtis coming in and going through this process. And I thank you for me being able to be here and walk with him through this. Lord, I thank you for the truth that was unveiled in this. Lord, I thank you for the steps that he's taken to seek out help, and that now he can go and visit this driver of the limo and be a part of the gentleman's healing process and bring your light to his life. Lord, I ask you to put your hand on them and have a good meeting, and have control over the anxious thoughts and the mind movements, that they can work together in healing of this driver. It's in your name we pray. Amen. Well, thank you so much, Curtis, for coming in and us going through this. And after you see the driver, call and make an appointment with me when you're ready. And I'd like to talk about that situation with you. And then if there maybe one more session after that, and I think we'll leave it as to whenever you need from me after that. Okay? But Yes, yeah.